I believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear them. So come with me as we take a walk down Fascination Street. This episode is brought to you by G-Row. That's G-R-O. G-Row is the most amazing suitcase that started on Kickstarter. It has the largest capacity of any carry-on and has optional removable geo-tracker and onboard rechargeable battery. It's sturdy, it's rugged, and it's easy to maneuver due to its all-terrain wheels. Click on the photo link to get $50 off this amazing suitcase. I have two of them, one for me and one for my wife. I was one of the original Kickstarter backers, and this is the most amazing piece of luggage I've ever owned. I've gotten compliments on it when I fly with it. It is amazing, and I know you'll love it. Hey guys, this episode is Caelan Beihn, Dylan Wrenn, and Nick Davis, better known as the Lackeys from the Adam Carolla Podcast Network. This episode of Fascination Street was recorded in the Adam Carolla Show studios. In this episode, Dylan helps us understand how Caelan was conceived, Nick makes millions playing online poker, and Caelan tells us about how he tried to get someone a job on The Walking Dead. And together, we all try to name the basketball players on the French national basketball team. Enjoy! Yeah, talk to me, yeah. Hey guys, thank y'all for sitting down with me on my podcast, Fascination Street, which is available at fascinationstreetpod.com. Here we're in the Adam Carolla Studios.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. We got Dylan.
Hi.
We got Caelan. We got Nick.
Go back, go.
Thank you guys so much for sitting down with me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having
No
us.
The whole kind of purpose of this podcast is really to just kind of, it's about fascinating people and or fascinating stories. So.
And you ran out of people.
Get out of here. Good God.
So really, I'm just super curious on how each one of you ended up here. You know, what did you want to be when you grew up? It wasn't podcasting because it didn't exist. So, well, Dylan, how'd you get here? Where'd you grow up? And
I grew up in Los Angeles, just a few blocks away, in Studio City, California. I just bugged Lynette Carolla, the Ace Man's wife, on LinkedIn until she gave me a job.
So you're the person who has a LinkedIn account. I've been trying to figure out how they're still in business.
Yeah.
So it's you.
Yeah, no. I'm bankrolling the entire operation with my profile. Yeah, that's how it started, and she gave me the opportunity to be her assistant, and then I just kind of, I don't know, weaseled my way into other responsibilities around here.
So what did you want to be when you grew up?
In comedy. I want to write. I'm still not there yet.
Really?
But,
Yeah. You seem hilarious.
We're getting there. Yeah. Thanks so much, Steve.
All right. You know, sort of like Stephen Wright and all of his hilarity.
Yeah. You know who's way funnier than me?
What's that?
Caelan.
Oh, yeah? What do you got, Caelan?
Not much of a comedian.
Okay, so how'd
I
you
like
get
to lay
here?
low.
Where were you raised or born or whatever?
Well, I was also raised in Studio City. My dad is an actor.
Oh, everybody knows your dad.
Yeah.
Better with Beihn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. I haven't heard that before, but I like it. Yeah.
You had that's
Better with Beihn.
That's Brian's thing.
Oh, well.
Yeah, Brian Bishop on his other podcast, The Film Vault.
Oh, yeah,
like every once in a while, they'll do a film,
Better
like a
with
whole
Beihn.
show.
I agree. Yeah.
A whole show where they just pick movies that would be better if your dad was in them.
Nice. Yeah, Brian was a very, very big fan of my father's. I've learned over the years.
Still is,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, still is. So yeah, I grew up kind of in the Hollywood industry, in Studio City, and I got this job with Adam because my dad was on the podcast, and he had directed his first movie called The Victim, and he came on here to promote it. And while he was here, he just his girlfriend now named Jennifer said, "Hey, he's got a couple sons, and they make good interns. If you need an intern, they just so happen to need an intern." So I came in, and I interviewed for the job with my older brother, actually, who's 8 years older than me.
And you beat him out?
Oh yeah, it was no question. He actually made me look very good because I was professional. You know, I put a nice shirt on, I had a bag, I had my laptop, had my resume, and this story has been told a couple times. But he walked in with sandals, board shorts, no computer, no resume, just wandered in.
Did you say anything to him when you were in?
Well, no, because they wanted the job.
Well,
Yeah,
on the way
smart.
over
Yeah.
here, I was like, you didn't bring a resume? He's like, no, what do I need a resume for? I'm like, you're going out for a job. You need to bring your goddamn resume. And he's like, I'll be fine.
Not the younger brother, the older brother.
Yeah.
8 years.
Yeah, 8 years older. And so...
He's like, man show, resume.
Yeah.
Fuck
So he went before me, so he made me look very good. When I went in there, I looked very professional. And they were like, I could work for free. I got a computer. I'm good. So like, all right, you'll be an intern for 6 to 8 months. And then I worked hard enough to where they're like, all right, well, here's a job then.
Sweet.
Yeah, originally, like, I like production work. I like being on set because I kind of grew up on movie sets.
What's your favorite Beihn movie?
Oh, my favorite movie of my father's is Aliens. But my favorite role that he's ever played is Johnny Ringo in Tombstone.
That's my
I
favorite.
named my dog after
I fucking love that movie
character.
so much.
Yeah,
Oh my god, that movie's great.
it's a good one.
Well done. Your dad.
Thanks.
And so, does your mom? She
lives in England.
In England.
Yeah.
Do you
with
see
my
her
younger-
often?
I'm going to see her in August. I have enough vacations at Corolla to where it's usually like 2 a year. So I'll go over to England once a year, and then she'll come over here once a year. So it's like
That's cool.
I usually see her twice a year. Either I'm over there or she's over here.
She's
Very
a
cool.
sweet lady.
She's very nice. She's
Yeah,
very
she's
friendly.
cool.
Very
Yeah.
friendly.
Beautiful.
Very talkative. Yeah. Okay.
Shocking. I'm just kidding. That's not shocking at all.
Oh, okay. I thought that was a compliment, but
No, it is.
oh,
I'm not
Well,
shocked. I'm just not shocked that she's beautiful. Is
Oh.
all I'm saying.
oh, okay.
Because of
Stunning.
the whole having consummated with a
Whoa.
famous
Mike
actor.
Wayne. All right, we
Wow.
can stop talking about my mom and
I was
beauty and
really just
consummating
Do you
saying
know how
because
you
you're-
got here?
They had sex
Caelan?
with each other.
Yeah.
I was really just saying because you're so pretty.
That's what I thought initially, and then you took it back, so then that's why I was confused. on
Nah.
the
They
later
probably
one,
had
yeah.
sex with each other a couple times to make Caelan.
Yeah, and
Because it
that,
doesn't always work the first time.
because they knew they had one son who doesn't know how to make a resume,
Yeah.
so they're like, we gotta take another crack
But
at
like,
it.
I gotta try this again.
Numerous cracks.
Wow. How's that feel? These are your friends,
Let's move on.
dude.
Let's move on to a new subject.
All right,
That would
Nick.
Make me feel better.
What's up, man? How'd you get here?
Well, I mean, not unlike one Samuel Longhorn Clemens, I grew up on the banks of the mighty Mississippi
Where?
in a beautiful Midwestern town called La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Okay.
So not in Mississippi.
Not in Mississippi.
Oh.
No.
On the Mississippi.
On the banks of the
Oh,
Mississippi. But no, I'm from the Midwest. I went to University of Minnesota, like an econ major. I didn't follow that at all. Clearly, I mean, I guess economics is involved in everything, but
Life.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah. After it's just decision making, essentially, science of decision making. But I actually didn't finish college, and I started playing online poker, and I did that. Just like that was my only income for a year.
So you were successful enough playing online poker to pay your bills?
Yeah, I mean, I was living in college in a college house with 5 roommates. I didn't have a lot of bills, but I probably made like $30,000 in 9 months. And yeah, it was pretty fun. And then
He's lowballing it for legal
Fair,
purposes.
yeah.
no, that's pretty accurate. I would
Made
say
a lot
actually.
more than
And
that.
then just one day, I wasn't in school anymore. I'm just playing online poker, and you log in, and it's what's known in the online poker world as Black Friday. You went in, and it said the Feds seized everything. They shut down all poker sites across the country. Luckily, I wasn't one of the people. There are professional poker players who kept a lot of their bankroll in it. I was constantly pulling out, like using it as my paycheck, so I only had like $1,200 taken. But then, yeah, it was like decision time at that point. I just got a job in retail. I worked at Sports Authority for a year, and then I found a guy who was like doing e-commerce online. He was about to hire his first employee. Worked for him for a while. That did pretty well. We grew. I was there, but I just wasn't happy. And I'd always loved talk radio. Like growing up, I loved ESPN radio. Like when I was 12 years old, I would call in at like 4 in the morning. Like I was obsessive. So I've always loved talk radio. And when I was playing online poker, that's when I discovered podcasts. A lot of Mark Maron, a lot of Nerdist real
Right.
early on. And then I just decided I wasn't loving the direction what this small company had to offer, and I just quit one day. I drove from Minneapolis to here in my Volkswagen Jetta. I slept in my car for a while, and I started applying at podcasting places. And one day this opened up.
What are podcasting places?
So I actually saw it was a video of the New Media Conference in like 2014, and it was the Noah Shattuck, who is the CEO of Stitcher,
Okay.
Norm Pattis, and then it was moderated by I can't remember his name, but he's does a lot. Neil Laporte.
Laporte, yeah.
Yeah, Neil Laporte. He was the moderator, and they were just talking about where podcasting was going, and it was like, I've already loved it. I think there's a lot going to be. They sold me on it. I think there's going to be a lot more money in it, so thought there would be jobs. So I was applying to like Podcast One, mid-roll. I applied to like an intermediate ad agency called Oxford Road. I interviewed with them, and they do a lot of trafficking with some of the shows, even though you may not have heard of Oxford Road. And I interviewed, didn't get it, but then one day they were looking for an intern on the Adam Carolla show, and I applied right away. I was like tweeting at Gina, showing her my cover letter and stuff. Get an email from Matt Fondelier. They bring me in, and I interviewed with Matt and Gary, and got the job.
So Matt and Gary are the ones responsible?
Yes.
The gatekeepers.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And when I found out I was interviewing with Matt and Gary, I listened to, Matt used to have a podcast of his own called There Will Be Spoilers, TWBS,
right.
And I listened to an episode that Gary was on, and they all talked, it was like a whole hip-hop focused one, and I loved hip-hop, and they talked about how much they love Childish Gambino, and that was one of the first things I said when I walked in there, how much I love Childish Gambino.
Interesting approach. It worked, though, right?
Yeah, it worked.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Your dad was in The Terminator?
Yeah, the first one.
Right. So, you know who Robert Patrick is?
He's the bad guy in the second
the
one.
liquid guy,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. I think his kid went to the same school that I went to.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
He was on The Nerdist a few years ago, right after... Well, you were already working here at the time. So he was on Nerdist, and Chris Hardwick had said, "Oh, hey, doesn't your son work at the Adam Carolla show?" Like, he got confused. And then it was really funny because I was like, wow, why would you, weird. Do your research, Chris, come on. Yeah. But Robert Patrick goes, not that I'm aware of. I mean, there might be some kid out there who's, I guess, going around maybe saying he's my kid, but I don't know. But it was, and it never got cleared up for the whole episode.
Well, I think Chris Hardwick might have known that because Chris Hardwick is like the Walking Dead guy.
Yeah.
Right. And I was very big into The Walking Dead. I feel like it's very much gone off the rails, and I'm much more into Game of Thrones these days. But I used to be very big into The Walking Dead. And there was one character that was in the comic books that they were going to introduce on the show. And I thought that my dad would be the perfect cast for it. If you're familiar with The Walking Dead, it was Abraham, who was like a retired Army general, seasoned Army general out of the Army. And so I literally made a video of my dad as Abraham with the mustache, went up to Fryman, filmed him with a machine gun and all that. And when Chris Hardwick came into the podcast, I literally showed him the video that I made.
Really?
Yeah, and I was actually I even made it, and I went down to the Valhalla Studios that are over there on Cahuenga.
Okay.
And I just walked up to the door and was like, "Here, I have this video I made to convince you to hire my dad as Abraham."
Really?
And they're like, "Yeah, we don't just take people walking into our studio." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
You don't understand who my dad is.
Yeah. So
it's a different Mr. Bean.
That might be how he knew that I was working here, because I literally showed him that on my computer. And then
were you never here when Chris was in the studio?
I was here when I forget when it was. I started working in early 2013, and so it was probably still
this would have been late 2013.
Yeah, so that
happened.
Yeah, so then that's probably when I showed him that. But what's also funny is that growing up, I'd often say, "Oh yeah, my dad was in the Terminator," and you'd be surprised how many people confused the first and second Terminator. They'd always assume that my dad was, him.
Robert Patrick.
Yeah, because they didn't distinguish between the two. So a lot of people assume that was my dad. And
sweet.
It's a common mix-up.
Oh, Chris, look. Is this you, Gary? Gary, you're so badass.
Oh, Chris Hardwick was on August 15th, 2013.
Dope.
That's when I showed him that video. That's around the time that they actually hired me, I think. Yeah, that was maybe a month later was when I actually got hired. So I was probably still an intern when I showed him that video. It's like, hire my dad as Abraham. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
It didn't work out. They had already cast him, I think, at that point, but
sure,
I did it anyway.
Have you ever been able to get your dad a job?
No. No.
You still
he
trying?
He got me a job.
Clearly.
He got me an internship, but
You still trying? Every once in a while you still gonna make videos?
No.
Now you're done?
Yeah, he's doing his own thing these days, and so.
Caelan's going to get him blackballed. He's like, yeah, he's perfect for the part, but his kid won't leave us alone.
This kid just keeps fucking showing up with videotapes. Dylan, what are you going to do for the rest of your life? I mean, besides all of this.
Write comedy.
Yes, besides all this raucous comedy.
you know, I have a woman that I love.
He's getting married soon.
I'll probably have a couple children with her. Extend my family's lineage into the future.
Into the future.
Uh-huh. Yep. The Wrenns have been here for a long time. And then, yeah, write comedy. Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Are you writing comedy now?
From time to time. No.
You just want to cough right down the barrel.
You know what? Good hosting. Good hosting. You got to criticize stuff like that. You can't let that stuff slide.
Sorry.
Yeah. Writing, but not enough was the answer. Before I coughed rudely into this microphone.
Sweet.
I'm one of the biggest.
I'll make sure to tell Brian that.
I'm one of the biggest champions of Dylan's comedy. We do a podcast together, and he writes fake sponsors for it.
With Chris or no?
No.
Is it just y'all?
I did it again.
Yeah, you're good at it.
Yeah.
No, we do the water cooler with that Chris Laxamana hosts, the sideshow of his main podcast, Resume.
Right.
But we hold one. We just started one independently with another friend of ours, Patrick Hickey, who works with Corolla Drinks, and it's a recap of the show The Bachelor.
You watch The Bachelor?
If you really want to.
I'm a boy.
I don't know if you should scoff at it. It's a wonderful television program.
And also the fact that we're male is what gives us our niche, and we separate ourselves from the plethora of other Bachelor podcasts out there, which makes us another Bachelor podcast, and we're killing the game.
Interesting. How long has this been on?
Since January.
Yeah, still in its infancy, but man, we are just raking in the listeners.
And the poon.
Where can we find that?
iTunes, another
iTunes.
Bachelor podcast.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Check
Thanks,
it out.
brother. Thanks for the plug.
Thanks for the plug.
Of course.
You should start watching The Bachelor.
I should not do that.
I agree with your decision.
Dip your toe in with our pod first, and then see if you gotta turn on
Nice.
ABC.
There's
Now
a lot of
that I might do.
There's a lot of fun, a lot of comedy to be mined from that wonderful program on ABC.
Oh, now I'm seeing your comedy.
It's yeah.
So you
Famed.
you write fake commercials?
Yeah, from time to time, and Nick is very, very supportive. And,
Like Ben Lowenthal's Horse Rentals of Topanga. It was one of the
yeah, from time.
one
to
of my
time.
favorites.
They're a little wacky because we don't. The joke is that we don't have enough clout to get real advertising.
Sure.
So we just say that we're sponsored by these wacky companies like Ben Lowenthal's Horse Dealership of North Hollywood.
Which is an anachronistic company in itself. You
Yeah.
shouldn't be renting horses right now.
Sure.
It's all about the combustion engine.
I'll tell you
And
what,
maybe
though.
even electric now.
Ben
Oh, cool.
Lowenthal would argue that you should.
So to be fair, to be clear, it's not all about the horse renting nowadays.
I feel like that's a not a worthy endeavor at the moment.
Gone by the way of the dodo.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Or is it just gone by way of the dodo?
Gone the way of the dodo.
Yeah, that's
All
it.
right.
That's
All
it.
right.
There's no buy.
Cool.
What are you gonna do for the rest of your life, Caelan?
I don't know. I always, like I said, I always like just working in production.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty good gig I got going on with Adam right now. If one day I transitioned into more film, television production aspect, then I'd probably just be pretty happy doing that.
Yeah. So you're more of a behind the camera, behind the mic kind of guy.
Yeah. I like behind the camera. I like being on the set. You
He
know,
says
where all the
that,
action
but
takes place.
he's a star.
Oh,
He just
That's what they say.
yeah.
The
He just
shining
hasn't
star.
bloomed yet.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. What about you, Nick? What are you gonna do?
Just keep going down this path. I just want to be in the entertainment comedy industry, and I just feel like it's changing so fast, so it's really hard to pinpoint exactly what you want to do. But I mean, if I could say the absolute dream, I turn into the Lorne Michaels of comedy and then buy an NBA franchise.
Which one?
Yeah.
I guess I could revive the Bucks. They're doing pretty well now, but that's my home state, so pick up
makes
the Bucks. I think they're in the bottom 5 of NBA prices right now. You can get them for a cool $400 million at the moment. So I feel like I'm just
We had this conversation.
It's like they're on
not-
sale.
They're not going that low.
whatever. They were very low. It was like 600,
Okay.
700.
It was
What's 200?
800.
Ooh.
I thought it was 800.
Because the crux of the argument was I foolishly said, nah, Nick, you can't get an NBA team for less than $1 billion. And you said that's foolish and you don't know the sport.
And then
I said,
at that
"That's
time, I
true,
nailed
but-"
my estimate of it, and I think you're right. It was around 800 million.
Yeah.
Either way, it's chump change when I'm a mogul in the comedy industry like Lorne Michaels. It's
What-
just going to be a little pet
What was your
project.
other really specific bucket list item that we were talking about?
It wasn't the NBA owner
Well,
thing?
no, I said your list is very specific. I said name another thing more broad, and you said own an NBA franchise, which is more broad. But anyways, I'm derailing it. I can't think of it.
Oh, okay. There was
Yeah,
another
that
one. Yeah, I
specific
don't know. I'll have to pull out the bucket list.
Yeah, he's got it written down.
So that's really on your bucket list?
Yeah.
Just to own an NBA franchise?
Yeah, when I type what is your dream job into my bank account, no one tried to break into my bank account, but I type in NBA owner.
You didn't even really watch so much basketball this season. I
They-
was the guy running around trying to get any basketball games that anybody worked here, and
Because
you weren't watching any.
It
What's
hurts
going
me so
on?
much to watch that I can't pull the strings. I watched it incessantly when I was younger, and now it just pains
So you're
me.
only gonna watch basketball once you're pulling the strings,
Or maybe
behind
the 10
an entire
years,
team.
maybe the 5 to 6 years leading up to it, so I know where. I need to know
Market
the landscape.
research.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But at this time, it's just a time suck. I still love the NBA, but there's a lot of games.
What do you think about all the money they're throwing around right now?
It's
Jesus Christ.
insanity. It's insanity.
What kind of money are they throwing
Well, like
around?
Steph Curry just got the biggest NBA contract, and then 4 days later, James
Harden.
Harden just got the biggest
It was
in history.
$228 million over 5 years.
Four
Oh, Jesus.
for Harden.
Yeah, Harden's making $40 million a year now.
60.
Jesus Christ.
I thought it was 43. It's ridiculous. Whatever.
It's
it is.
crazy.
Stupid amount.
They don't
For
make
a
as
guy
much
who
money as Leo Messi.
Hasn't won yet. I mean,
Yeah, it doesn't compare to soccer.
They're
but
giving
still.
these NBA players enough where, like, by the time their careers are over, they could be the ones
yeah, no
behind the
shit.
team.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that LeBron James will own a team
Oh,
someday.
Yeah, he probably has a I bet the Cavs.
You know, Tony Parker owns a team.
Really? NBA?
Mm, yeah.
I
It's-
mean,
it's
obviously
in
not the
France.
whole thing.
It's in
Okay.
France.
That-
He owns the whole team. I don't remember what his guy. What was that?
Hey,
He
Garrett,
doesn't think much of French basketball, I think.
just French basketball. Love the country of France.
They have a surprisingly good national team. The French are very fun to watch.
Oh, interesting.
You got Nicholas Batum, you got Tony Parker, you got
Manu Ginobili.
no Argentina.
Boogie
Argentina.
Cousins.
Cousins. You're just throwing out names, aren't you? What was the other name of that fool who's for Paris? He was a Spur.
Yeah, they had a buddy with him. I keep thinking Batum.
I can't
This isn't
remember.
great, pod.
Well, I'm from San Antonio, and I love the Spurs.
I love the Spurs as an NBA franchise.
Kawhi Leonard is probably my favorite player right now.
Yeah?
I love
He's
his
pretty
style.
badass.
Yeah.
Same.
But that's the thing with all the Spurs players. They're just so humble. It's really like
Once
That's
I finally
what I like about their style. Something about
Once I
Popovich
finally
just gets them to just be humble basketball players.
Exactly. They're a perfectly run organization, and once I
Yeah.
purchase the Bucks, I'm gonna just model them exactly after what the Spurs have done since the late '90s, mid to late '90s, up
Nando
until now.
Decoa? Is that who you're
No,
looking
that
for?
wasn't it.
Boris Diaw.
Yeah, it was Boris
There,
Diaw.
Boris
That's him.
Diaw.
Boris Diaw. Yeah.
Do you know who my favorite basketball player is, Steve?
Who?
Kobe.
Oh, my God.
He's a really big fan. He doesn't have the socks on today, but he does have some.
I'm not a really big fan. I mean, I like the Lakers, but I mean, if we're being objective and truthful, I watched when they were in the playoffs, and then kind of.
Well, if we are being objective and truthful, that was when Kobe was playing and he was not hurt.
Yes.
That's when I was terrified for the Spurs to play against him because he would just light it up. I mean, that guy would play like shit for 3 quarters, and then the last quarter he'd throw down 45 points and they'd win. It was just insane. That guy was crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy though. A lot of people say that he's not that great, like Bill Simmons.
There's a lot of haters out
A
there,
lot of haters
and a lot
out
of those
there.
haters are from Boston.
I would imagine.
I think it's because he waited until he wasn't good anymore to leave.
Yeah,
Like if he
maybe.
would have left, like Tim Duncan, he should have played more. He should still be playing, but he just left.
And then Kobe, when he wasn't good, took a crap load of money from that franchise, which like crippled them. So that's not
Yeah.
very enviable either.
Yeah, way to go, Mamba. I don't even like Kobe that much.
I like Kobe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big Kobe fan, are you?
Not a big Kobe fan.
I mean, you grew
Kobe
up here,
fan, but
right?
definitely.
That's your team.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's not really my team. I say that I am a unapologetic bandwagon sports fan.
Yeah, listen to this.
So I like the best teams that are playing, and I'm not sorry about it. So it changes pretty much every year.
So you're a big Spurs fan then?
No, I'm a big Golden State Warriors fan.
Okay.
I respect the candor.
And I like
I kinda
the
do,
teams
but I
that
don't.
put on the best games, and I'm not sorry that that's what I'm into. Because I was never a big sports guy going through high school and college, and then I got back into football. I got back into basketball.
You have a
I
hair
watch a
on
little
your
bit
lip.
of hockey.
And isn't that why we watch sports, to see it played at
See
the
that?
highest
Yeah,
level?
you want
I
to
do now,
see.
thanks.
You want
That
to
hair.
Now
see
I
it.
can't not see it.
Got a hair on
Do
your
you want to
lip.
just derail it again?
He did a good job. He did it. He derailed it.
Got it.
There it is.
Got it.
Good pod, Dylan. Good podcasting.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Santa Monica Community College
Okay.
for 3 years and pretty much finished up my general education requirements to
So
transfer.
you're a general.
No, I did not pass fucking
He
statistics
didn't
because I
finish.
hate statistics, and I failed it twice. And so then I just stopped going and started working here full time instead.
So you're like what? How short are you from a degree?
What is it? An associate's degree is the one before bachelor. So I'm one statistics class away from an associate's degree, I believe. That's the first 2 years.
Can't
Yep,
you,
yep.
Yeah.
Can
so
you change your shit and just take a different class, like change your major or whatever?
I probably, but like, what the hell? You can barely get anything with a bachelor's degree, let alone an associate's degree. Like, what's the point of that?
Sure.
If you go to law school and you get a law degree, you could.
I'd rather
probably
shoot
move some
myself
stuff
in the
with
head than
that.
become a lawyer.
Right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Will you do that online?
I don't like reading. I'm not a big reader.
Oh,
You got to read a lot when you're a lawyer.
Extensive
Yeah.
syllabi.
Do not
when
like
you're
reading.
in law school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where'd you go to school, Dylan?
I went to the illustrious Cal State University of Northridge.
Sweet.
Went to Loyola of New Orleans for a year, just on an academic vacation, burning a hole in my parents' wallet.
Oh, sweet. How kind of you.
Yeah, it was very, very kind of me.
Studying the bar scene down
I'm
there.
I'm a good child.
That's awesome. Do they still
Yeah.
appreciate that?
They do, yeah. Every Thanksgiving, we talk about how thankful we are that I did that to them.
Nick,
See,
you-
now you're getting it.
Yeah, now
now
I'm
you're
getting it.
getting it.
So you went to where'd you go?
I went. Ironically, I went to University of Minnesota, even though I have that staunch pride in Wisconsin. But the difference between the applications of University of Wisconsin and University of Minnesota, you had to write a 5-paragraph essay to get into University of Wisconsin, and I wasn't all about that. So I just I only applied to one school. I was on the extended waiting list. Really didn't look like I was going to get in for a little bit, but then I
Really?
did at the 11th hour. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm not one for backup plans, hence the living in my car.
Clearly. Yeah, hence the
I don't
just
think you
playing
got
poker
to that.
online.
I mentioned it.
Yeah, he
okay.
drove down and it was a Jetta.
Yep. Diesel Jetta.
Diesel. Beautiful
Oh,
car.
Sweet. Diesel. Do you still have it?
No, I actually told. Well,
200,000 miles on that puppy.
290. 290.
Wow.
Well, actually, when I
Totaled?
huh?
Totaled?
I just remembered in my own head. I got in an accident, fucked it up really bad, couldn't fix it because I only had liability. It was a really old car. I was still driving around like that, and then the city took it because I don't pay tickets.
He's a man of principle. He's not going to pay tickets.
My favorite part was the way you just sort of just nonchalantly leaned over and smiled and said, I don't pay tickets. All right, so I appreciate you guys. I want to get y'all out of here. Do y'all want to throw out some plugs? Dylan, where can people find you?
You've allowed us to plug. You can find me on Twitter at Dylan Pete Wrenn. And listen to me and Nick's podcast, another Bachelor podcast.
Sweet. Caelan,
Oh, don't worry about me.
do it. Like, you can't leave till you do it.
That's his move.
No,
That's his catchphrase.
that's my
his-
thing,
that's his
actually.
thing.
Yeah, you're going to go far.
Not far on social media.
All right, cool. There you go. All right, what do you got, Nick?
At Real Nick Davis, and you heard another Bachelor podcast.
Yeah.
That's it.
Cool. All right.
And also, hey, this doesn't even relate to me, but Netflix is coming out with all these specials, these half-hour ones. Watch Nate Bargatze. He's like one of my favorite unknown stand-ups. He's hilarious, and he has a half-hour special on Netflix.
Sweet. All right,
Yeah,
y'all
while
check
we're
all
at
that
it,
out.
you should watch the Great British Bake Off on Netflix, too.
What
It's
the,
really good.
what the fuck? You just watched Bachelor and Bake Off, and that's your weekend?
He loves him a cooking show.
Sign us off.
All right, thank you guys. Y'all take it easy.
Thanks,
Thanks,
man.
Steve.
Hey, Gary, will you take a picture of just all of us real quick before Caelan runs?
out of there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Kind of wanted to do it in here if that would be cool.
Yeah.
Just where we were.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Drive like a
Great.
bat out of hell. Beat
It
it.
was nice to meet you.
It was all my pleasure.
Fascinating Street?
Fascination Street.
Fascination Street.
You'll hear all about it. Hey guys, if you like what I'm doing, rate and review the podcast on iTunes and wherever else you're getting the podcast. And If you do order things from Amazon, it would really help me out if you use that Amazon banner that's on the website at fascinationstreetpod.com and just click through whenever you're buying stuff from Amazon. You can click through the first time and then save that to your favorites or bookmark it, and every time you use it, you don't have to go to the website to get there. I appreciate it, guys. Opening music is the song Magnolia from the 2014 album Intransigence, used with permission from Douglas Miles Clark. Closing music is Apollo from the 2001 album Into the Known by the band Sapphire. Thanks for hanging out with us and getting to know a little bit about our guest. We'll see you next time on Fascination Street.